guys, this is Dr. Mike Wumeng. Welcome to another edition of Bootstrap MD. This is the podcast for healthcare and physician entrepreneurs. I met this next gentleman at a mastermind group that I'm in. As I mentioned before, I belong to a couple of high-end masterminds, and we really connected. I didn't think so at first, but it seemed like we really connected. And once you hear his story, you'll learn why. And once I got to know him, and actually, I had the privilege, he actually gifted me his book, Epic Life, which was tremendous. And we're going to talk all about it. He is the founder and CEO of the exclusive connectivity platform, BREpic Network, and global PR for Communications. His book features a pediatrician today bestsellers list. We really connected once I found out that his wife is a pediatrician, Dr. Sarah Breen, and she is actually well, I won't spoil it, but she's actually transitioning to working on a new company. We're going to talk all about it. He's got his children, Jake and Chase, his dogs. They just inherited a third dog. I want to bring to the table someone that I've learned a lot about really quickly, Justin Breen. Justin, how are you doing today?
Well, it's a wonderful day and very grateful to talk to you. I think your story is it's a wonderful entrepreneurial journey that's just beginning, really. And then before you hit record, I wanted to ask you what you had learned from your son Ryan, who's now 24. And I don't know if you wanted to tell the audience that, but he was diagnosed with autism when he was 4, correct? So 20 years.
Yeah, actually, they didn't at that back then. They didn't really give him a diagnosis, and because the way that the system works, if you diagnose them, too early or too late, you have certain, you get certain,
right.
You want to be labeled in particular. So they called it the ICD code disorder. ICD disorder was pervasive developmental disorder, NOS, not otherwise specified. But then later, yes, he was diagnosed with autism. But yeah, thanks for asking. And just to share with the audience, and I've said this to many of my colleagues and friends, that I probably wouldn't be where I am, running a number of different businesses, starting my own practice, if it wasn't without Ryan. I was working for a company. I was kind of the low man on the totem pole in this physician group, made a nice salary, but I was working what we call golden handcuffs, just working and I'll probably be working there continuously, but showed me that there was, different, the importance of family, which is something that resonated in your book, Epic Life, that I heard again and again and again, like, why are we all doing this? And the love that you have for your family. Yeah, exactly. Is really what should drive all of us to do what we want to do. So thanks for bringing that up. But this, I'd like to talk about you and spotlight you and what you've done. You started as a journalist. And I don't think entrepreneurship really came into your mind, from what I understand, until you also had a kind of similar enlightenment in your life. Will I speak to that?
Tremendous use of enlightenment, and why I had said your journey is like it's just an entrepreneur journey. So what separates entrepreneurs from humans, there are only 4 things, only 4. All I do all day is talk to top visionary entrepreneurs on planet and then simplify what they say into patterns. So the 4 things are bankruptcy or potential bankruptcy, 2, depression, 3, highest level of anxiety, and 4, likely and or possible traumatic experiences as a child or young adult. So for humans, business owners, consultants, those 4 things are excuses. And then people like us, you turn those into multiple companies. You turn those into spending more time with family. I mean, that's what an entrepreneur is. They're the most damaged person with the best coping skills. So the highest IQ, highest EQ, most hustle, most guts, most ability to understand enlightenment, or hey, this very difficult situation is going to lead to enlightenment. So I started first company in 2017 with zero business background. I was a journalist for 20 years and created an entire first company based on how PR firms annoyed me for 20 years. I don't know what PR firms do. They just annoyed me. And then started it. Job salary was cut in half, couldn't find a job, incorporated 6 days after turning 40. And then with zero business background, while I was working full-time at half salary, reached out to 5,000 people to find first 5 clients. So that's not, I mean, most people aren't born with the wiring to do that. But I didn't even know what an entrepreneur was. I was just born like this. So now have 2 global companies that partner and connect people like us to people like us. So I think it's a somewhat similar journey, yours and mine. We were both faced with very difficult challenges, but turned those challenges into really finding what the true meaning of life is, and then creating companies based on that purpose to help others. So I think there's a lot of commonalities there.
Why did you write the book Epic Life? Why did you feel you need to tell that story?
Well, I think in a way, I think it's similar to why you're doing what you're doing, because you're a litmus test for people you serve. And then you see physicians and healthcare folks struggle with overworking, and they're doing all this stuff, and then they never see their family, or they torch their family, or never have one. So you created companies so you could see your family and have all this time. And if you're not a litmus test for people you serve, that's hypocrisy. So purpose of my life is to be to connect visionaries to serve humanity. So connecting visionaries, not humans, not business owners, not just pure visionaries, and to serve humanity, pure global thinking. And then formula for creating a successful global company is simple. Is you see a problem, create solution, problem solve, successful global company. So you saw a problem with physicians being overworked, no passive income. Okay, create companies to help them do that. Create them, successful global company. The book, Epic Life, which I'm very grateful, Dr. Peter Diamandis, who very rarely does it, but he did it for me, I'm very grateful. He wrote the foreword. He's one of the top entrepreneurs on the planet. It's how to build collaborative global companies while putting your loved ones first. So it's the same formula. I talk to 1 to 2 people like us every single week that have let entrepreneur life destroy their family life, or preventing them from having a family. So I'm like, okay, create solution, how to build collaborative global companies while putting your loved ones first. Write about it, solve it, successful global company. So to me, the book is just a successful global company.
As a doctor, I wasn't used to asking for help, especially when it came to subjects outside of medicine. But then I found physiciancoaches.com. In an instant, I found hundreds of experts to help me in all aspects of life. On areas I was afraid to ask: dealing with burnout, starting a side gig, money management, even help with my marriage. And the best part? Nearly all experts are physicians themselves. After reading their profile and a quick chat, I knew I found the right mentor for me. At physiciancoaches.com, help from professional colleagues is just a click away.
Why is it important for visionaries to connect? We talk about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
We talk about how
Lonely.
It can be, but why so I should be in charge of everything? Why should I need to connect with other visionaries? Why did you feel that was important?
Yes. So thank you for asking that for your audience. I know you know the answer to that. 1, because you're involved in multiple high-level masterminds, but 2, you're a visionary. So a business owner would not ask that question, but a visionary entrepreneur would. And then again, all I do is talk to people like us and simplify it into patterns. So there are 2 fundamental there are two fundamental things that will never change. That will never change. So, and I'm also in top level masterminds, and then created Own, which is high price point invite only connectivity platform for visionaries. So not only in the rooms, but created Own Room. And then in top tech masterminds where we talk about people living 400, 500 years old, AI, all that stuff, blockchain. But so there are two things that will fundamentally never change. One, power of storytelling. We're a world of storytellers. Bible, hieroglyphics, smoke signals, I don't know, the Constitution, whatever that is, we're a world of storytelling. And then two, will never change. Power of real human relationships. So AI and all this stuff, I'm a simplifier. So all this tech will just make power of storytelling better, and then power of real human relationships better. Because no matter how big of aliens that visionaries are, they still want to connect to other aliens because they want that sense of belonging. So they don't feel lonely. And people like us are usually alien, not always, but usually aliens within our own family, community, and verticals. The only people that understand us are top entrepreneurs on the planet. So it's a very lonely world at first, very lonely. And it took most of my life to find people who actually understood what I was talking about. And now that I found them, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 10, 10 becomes 20, 20 becomes 100. It never stops because people like us want to hang out with people like us.
Now, when we first met, one of the first things you told me, which I probably have never, met someone like you, is you told me how you scored on a personality testing. Can you elaborate for the audience on what exactly that's all about?
Oh, okay, sure. So, if you think the opposite of me, that would be my wife, who's a pediatrician, kind, loving, 100% gray, rules, order. And then I'm like, I see the world in numbers and keywords, like 100% black and white, very direct. And then she's like, you have to stop identifying people as numbers. I'm like, well, that's how I see the world in numbers, like IQ. And then the test that you're talking about, which actually is not your personality, that's why I like it, but it's called the Kolbe test, KOLBE, Kolbe.com, A index. It takes 20 minutes. I think it's $55 US. And it measures how your brain takes action, how folks take action. And I don't really care what someone's personality is. I don't really care what someone does. I don't care where they live or how many employees. I just want to know if they're visionaries or not, or if they're going to do something. And Kolbe, I have found, I'm not affiliated with it at all. But for me, it's been the easiest way to identify who a visionary is and who is not. And Kolbe, there's 4 numbers. There are 4 numbers. Most of the people I talk to, not all, but most of them are very high quick start. That's idea, shiny object, shiny object, shiny object, shiny object, shiny. And then they have little to no follow through. So that's like ADD, ADHD, diagnosed or undiagnosed. It's not a disorder. It's a sign of genius mislabeled by humans. And then I'm the very, very rare visionary that has high quick start, boom, 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 and then high follow through as well. So it's like hit the gas, pump the brakes, hit the gas, pump the brakes. It's ultra focused. And then the typical human or doctor or pediatrician like my wife is lower quick start, higher follow through. So analyze, then make a decision. But then once that decision is made, never stop following through. So that's why my wife is such a great COO integrator for Second Company. It took her 19 years of hanging out with me and people like me to realize, I kind of want to become someone like that. And then now she'll never stop following through. She's an onboarding machine.
Yeah. So tell me about your wife. I mean, when I read your book, I could definitely see when you spotlighted your family,
yes,
that you could tell that the words you really lit up, because that was like the biggest take home that I got. Like, that's your world. Like, that's the most important. You
understand.
Yeah. So tell me about Dr. Sarah Breen. and then kind of maybe her journey, and then her decision to start up and work in your company.
So it's a wonderful journey and wonderful story. I am not a very emotional person, but when I think about my wife and our children, who, by the way, our children are both 9 quick start, 2 follow through maniacs. Maniac is a compliment. They're pure visionaries. They're 10 and 9 years old. And then actually our 10-year-old's about to turn 11. So probably when he'll be 11. So, which is very interesting, but, so usually I don't say this, but I think your audience will appreciate this. My wife and I, our first date was the day before she started medical school, literally the day before she moved into the dorms to start medical school. I'm 5.5 years older than her. And so if there's anything comparable to entrepreneur life journey, it's going through medical school. You've done both, so that's really interesting. And we never really dated we never dated until we met in 2004. We never really started dating until 2018. And that was after we had our 2 children, our 2 sons. So it was like, 14 years of like whatever dating a doctor is. I've experienced that. Okay. And then I've been an entrepreneur since 2017, 6 days after turning 40. And my wife, just after turning 40, we were in one of the entrepreneur groups we're in. It's called Strategic Coach. Very grateful to be in that. Dan Sullivan and Bab Smith, our husband and wife, and their co-founders of Strategic Coach. I'm sure you know a lot of folks in that. And they have a thing called Couples Connection, where the entrepreneur and his spouse or partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, they go to a weekend-long event with other entrepreneurs and their partners. And then they just talk about entrepreneurial couples. So we went to San Diego area earlier this year, and this was the 3rd time we had done this event, and we've almost been together 20 years now. So my wife, again, low quick start, high follow through, high fact finder, she just absorbed this for year after year after year, and then met all these couples where the spouse had transitioned out of whatever line of work they were in, and then decided to become an entrepreneurial couple, literally working together or completely just becoming an entrepreneur themselves. And at the end of this most recent couples connection, my wife, who's Sarah, Dr. Sarah, she goes, "Hey, I have an idea. What if I transitioned out of pediatrics and became COO of your second company?" I'm like, "Okay, great. Here's the microphone. Tell everyone," because I don't overthink anything. I'm just like, okay, great. And that was a couple months ago, and she's been COO for about 2.5 months. And just to land the plane, which I don't usually do, but for her, I will. She's onboarded almost $300,000 into new company and new members. She's an onboarding machine. Right. Yeah. Because low quick start, high follow through. She'll never start. She's planned our first big in-person event, which will be May 15th and 16th in Phoenix, I believe. She does all the backstage stuff. She helps run the meetings with my partner who's in San Francisco. He does 8 and 9-figure deals all day. That is not my world. I just like to connect people like us to people like us. And then she's down to 2 days a week as a pediatrician. She's lower quick start, so she won't admit it, but I'm higher quick start, and I already see it. I'm guessing she'll be out of pediatrics completely within 12 months. The kids and I have a bet on that. Our 10-year-old said 6 months. The 9-year-old or the 11-year-old said 6 months, and the 9-year-old said 9 months that my wife will be completely out. So we were trying to plant the seed with her on that. So that's a long answer, but for me with her, it's really important to do that because one of how much I love her, But two, her story is, I think, the template not only for your audience, but anyone who's not necessarily a visionary like us. Like you and I were born to be this person. My wife and, people like that, they're not born like this. But they can hang around people like us and then kind of become like this. And that's a beautiful thing to me.
But are you saying that's what a visionary needs is an executor, is
100%.
An operator? I think I watched a video where you had mentioned your partner in a BREpic network.
Yes.
And you had this event, and I saw the video of the event.
Yes.
I believe you had met him for the first time live.
First time ever. That was the first time.
You want to share that story? I think it's kind of funny.
It's funny and amazing, and again, another wonderful thing that this is another reason why I wrote book, because I do think that the way my partner's name is Mark Fujiwara. Great. He's just a great guy. He's in San Francisco. I'm in Chicago. We've met 2 times in person now. One was at the launch party, which was in 2021. So before we even had the platform for the company, we had a launch party. And then, by the way, you saw the video, my wife's in that, which is really interesting. And that was well before she was COO, but it almost had like planted a seed that wound up becoming what it is now. And that's how you learn in real time, is by doing something. And then you see what happens. But Mark and I had met virtually, also in Strategic Coach. And one of the chapters in Epic Life was find your Babs or have your Babs find you. Again, Babs is the wife and business partner for Dan Sullivan. And I was talking to Dan virtually right at the start of COVID in another mastermind called Abundance 360, which is led by Dr. Peter Diamandis, who wrote the foreword for Epic Life. Again, if you see the connections here. And I was telling Dan, hey, I need to find my Babs for second company, because I can't build a tech platform. I would blow myself up doing that. I can barely hold a pen right, as you saw earlier. But so I'm like, hey, I need to find my Babs. And then Dan's like, oh no, the trick is have your Babs find you. So I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll do that. So Strategic Coach has a thing called an impact filter, which you have to fill out 7 to 10 things that need to work out for this to be a good match. And I filled it out and I started sending it to people. And then Mark was one of them, and he's like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's do that. I'm like, okay, great. Let's, here we go. So that was 2021. And then we had the launch party, and then Epic Life came out in 2022, where we talked about the formation. And then my wife, Dr. Sarah, became COO earlier this year, and now it's taking off like a rocket ship. So planting seed after seed after seed after seed, then it grows into a beautiful garden, and then it just keeps growing. It never stops.
And certainly in this case, you married your Babs.
Literally.
What other ways can they find us? Is it going to events?
Yes.
Is it putting
yes.
detail? What
the answer is yes. The answer is yes to all. Okay. So this to simplify everything you're saying, the answer is doing something. It's taking action. And I appreciate you reading Epic Life book. I appreciate, chapter 1 is the cream rises to the top. That's something my dad said every day that he was alive. And he was 61 when I was born. He was born in 1916, so he'd be 107 now. And he died when I was 13. And then he was a World War II hero who was shot down multiple times in combat, many times without a parachute, and got back into a plane. So that's my litmus test for you're either someone who can do that or you're someone who makes an excuses. So the reason why the answer to anything you were going to ask is yes, is because everything you were asking is doing something. It's putting yourself out there to attract something. So whether that's a social media post, whether it's going out in actual public, whether it's doing an impact filter and sending it out to your friends, whether it's, hey, you know what? This is the day before my wife's starting medical school, but I love her anyway. I'm going to date her, which I told her I loved her after 1 week. I would have told her the first day, but I didn't want to scare her the day before medical school, so I waited a week to tell her. But no, it's by taking action. It's by doing something. And then again, what my dad said, the cream rises to the top. The cream rises to the top because those are the ones that take action and make investments. They don't make excuses. No excuses. Figure it out.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I know your time is short. I know you're connecting visionaries. Give us, one or two advice. There's physicians who are on this call right now. I know some physicians are visionaries. I know some may be more operators. What's kind of the next step for someone who's got an idea? They think it can change the world, but they're not sure what the next step could be.
Okay.
What advice would you give that person?
Okay. One, that's tremendous. Normally I don't like landing the plane questions, but that's a really good one because you are being a litmus test for people you serve. And then physicians, they will do it if they just have an answer, because they're all intelligent. They'll put in the work. If you get through medical school, you can, or rotations, residency, you can do anything. So you're asking something for a group of people that will do it. They will do what it takes. Okay. So I'll give you a step, if it's helpful, a step-by-step. If it's helpful.
Yes, please.
Okay. And if it's helpful as background, because almost all these people are probably high fact finders, because I don't think you can get through medical school without being a high fact finder. Chapter 2 of Epic Life book is the perfection of patterns. So it's a deep dive into pattern answer, pattern answer, pattern answer. Okay. So one, I would take the Kolbe, KOLBE.com. Again, if you're a visionary, that means probably, not always, but probably ADD, ADHD, all over the place. That's high quick start, low follow through. And if you don't hire humans, really smart ones to help you, total disaster. So those type of people are the ones, they're running the healthcare practice. They're a visionary who's happens to be a doctor. They're a visionary who happens to be a dentist running a giant dental practice. They're a visionary who happens to be running a massive hospital thing, and there's 50 people under them. Okay, so that's one. And then regardless of what the Kolbe is, find someone who's the opposite of you. Because like for me, anything that's a weakness, I guess, if you want to look at it that way, is a chance to find collaborative strengths. So my partner has, and I'm a visionary, but he's an even bigger visionary than I am. And then I have slightly more follow through than him. My wife, who again is a pediatrician, is a stabilizing human, but we're both achiever 3 in strength finders. She just does it with harmony and relationships. I do it with activate, maximize. So go, 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 go. And then in strength finders, Gallup Clifton strength finders, I am dead last in empathy. There's 34 of them. For top visionaries on planet, I have endless empathy, endless. My partner, Mark, is competition 1, maximizer 2, empathy 3. He's 3rd in empathy. So collaborative empathy. I am 31 out of 34 in harmony. My wife is harmony 1. She is collaborative harmony, collaborative follow through. But we have this, she and I both have very high IQ, and we're both achiever 3s. So again, find out who you are, and then find the right collaborators who can really help with the things that you're just not great at. So I hope that's helpful. And then a deep dive into maybe how a healthcare person thinks brain-wise, strategy-wise.
I love it. Finding somebody who's opposite. I have my executor. Her name is Michelle. Is amazing.
Yeah.
That's the only way that we were able to run different projects.
Yeah, it would be, well, imagine, and then I'm guessing in your family, your wife's a stabilizing human, I would think.
Justin, you thank you 10% for sure. Justin, this was amazing. I love just getting access to your wisdom and knowledge. Where can they go if they want to find out more information? We got your book, Epic Life, but you also have your network. What's the best place to find out more information?
One, this was tremendous. Just a tremendous interview. You're a great simplifier. And then your companies are great multipliers. I'm 100% simplifier, and companies are 100% multipliers, so I can understand. And then BREpic Network. The website is BREpic, BREPIC network.org. And then you can read about how awesome my wife is on the site.
I love it, Justin. Again, tremendous. Go check out his book, Epic Life. He also has another book called Business.
Yeah. Yes.
Correct. Yeah. So you are in your entrepreneur journey. Feel free to reach out. Justin, thank you again for your time. Again, amazing interview. We'll need to have you back at some future point as well.
Oh, get my wife on. You got to get her on. She'll be a bigger, that's what I'm really like when the new company's really taking off now. We're about to be named one of the top 5 masterminds on the planet, which is, I'm very, very excited about that. I don't know the timeline of that, but I know the article's coming out soon. It's in one of those major travel magazines. And then like my wife will be like, cause she's relatable to anyone and she can communicate with anyone. So like, she would love to talk to you if you want to. I can introduce you to her if you want to meet her.
Yeah. If you know, have her people call my people, we'd be happy to have her on. Thanks
okay,
again.
great.
Thanks again, Justin, and thank you for listening. Remember, entrepreneurship have its ups and downs, but do something, as you say, is take action. Do whatever you can to help meet your goals and keep moving forward.